Welcome back to Tax Credits and Incentives to Power Your Business on the Commercial Real Estate Show. We have David McMillan with us. He's president of McMillan and Associates. And yes, we're talking tax credits. I'm Michael Bull. And David, we just talked about how property owners may be too busy to deal with some of this and a way to help them do that. But what about everybody else? Business owners, everybody seems to be busy. How can we plan for this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first part is identify what you're missing. And this may mean you doing some research on your own, talking to your CPA, engaging a third-party firm. But first, you need to figure out what you're missing. And then once you figure out what's out there and what you're eligible for, then you can start figuring out a plan to capture this stuff. Most of these tax credits actually have some type of time requirement or documentation requirement that if you're not ahead of the curve, you're behind the curve, or you may have missed some of these tax credits based on the deadline. So I think first is just identifying what's out there, and that's not easy. Yeah. Even if you find a list of tax credits that are out there, doesn't mean you can make sense of, are you eligible? Are you the right industry? Have you done the right things to actually get the credit before you start doing the work to get the money?
Yeah, and is there any software apps or anything that might be helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually developed a platform called Taxploration to help companies identify these credits and track it. But there's lots of tools that are out there. You can use spreadsheets, you can use our software, you can do things manually. What we find is you got to find something that fits in your culture. Yeah. So if you're a real manual company, maybe doing a manual process to track who you hire or track R&D efforts fits. Most companies are going digital, so it probably makes sense to have some type of digital platform that you can track all these tax credits, keep up with the documentation, keep up with the forms that need to go with your tax return. That's what our software does. Yeah. Allows people to do it all in one place.
Great, we got a shameless plug in there. That's good. And well, that's why you know about this topic. I mean, you've done it all your life, and you've created software for it, and that's what your company does. So let's get into R&D. Research and development kinds of tax credits, because that's expanded recently, hasn't it, with the PATH Act?
Yeah, it's R&D is a huge opportunity for companies. The two people that we see most often applying for this tax credit are, one is manufacturers, and the other are people who create and develop software. It could be software that you develop on your own for your own internal use, or product that you sell externally. I actually would say we see more companies getting tax credits for software development now because there's systems that don't fit their business, and so they're forced to develop it on their own. That's what we did. I mean, we took advantage of this tax credit ourselves. Yeah. There wasn't anything out there that did what we needed it to do, so we went on a journey to develop it ourselves. Yeah,
well, that's interesting. We're looking at one of the technologies that we're looking at right now that we're implementing just doesn't do exactly what we want, and I'm like, I can't. Look, if I can get the technology company to change it to what I want, they'll have a great piece of software.
That's right.
If I can get them to listen to me, right?
And that's what I think, using tax credits to plan your next business move, I think is really important. Yeah. Business owners, you probably already filed your tax return, or you're filing your personal returns now, so you probably have stroked a check to the government. That amount probably isn't going down for businesses, regardless of what president gets in there next. Yeah. So I think using tax credits to your advantage and planning, whether it's we've got to move, okay, what's the best place to move that's going to get us tax credits, right. Or hey, we have a software decision. Do we need to buy something off the shelf? Do we need to develop it ourselves? Could we get a tax credit? What's the ROI for doing it ourselves and getting the tax credit versus buying something off the shelf?
Good point. And another cost that a lot of businesses it's a big item on their list is healthcare. Are there some tax credits there?
There are. Admittedly so by Hillary Clinton and the people who designed this law. There is a healthcare tax credit for small businesses, but it's really not designed well. The more employees you have and the more money you pay your employees, the less tax credit you get, which seems a little backwards, and it is. Yeah. Surprised as the government did this. But so unfortunately for larger companies, more than 25 employees, there's really not any incentive on that side to help you out.
Yeah, you have to have gone down a pretty narrow path.
That's right.
To have qualified for that one.
But the government knows about this. I mean, that's one of their items, is to have an incentive for companies to provide this. So I think we'll see something change with that tax credit in 2017 or 18.
Okay. What if my company started a pension plan?
Depending
credits.
on the state, there are some tax credits for starting pension plans, even things like providing childcare to your employees. You can offset the cost of that. So a lot of states, they want to encourage these things to happen. The government does, so there are incentives that are out there. You just got to find what are they, make your list, and then the next thing is figure out how are you going to do it. Do you have time to do this yourselves? Depending on what stage of growth you're in, you may have time, you may not have time, and then figure out who's going to do it.
Right. Yeah, so you mentioned childcare. That can be a big one for some of these companies that are providing childcare
That's right.
for their
In
employees.
some cases, you can offset 75% of the cost of providing childcare. There are even tax credits for giving training to your employees, sending them to get their GED or get some basic skills training for tax credits.
Yeah. Well, David, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being in Studio One today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Michael.
Well, stay tuned. We'll have more on tax incentives and other incentives to grow your business. I'm Michael Bull. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. Stay with us. Hey there, thanks for checking out the Commercial Real Estate Show. Don't miss a video of special interest to you. Be sure to subscribe below. And if you appreciate the videos, be sure and thank our sponsors. There's a link to more information about them in the description. For more videos, podcasts, and articles, check out CREshow.com.